Today on Sports Central, we're going over a college football game preview and prediction on one of the big games coming up in week number 7, and that's going to be between Auburn and South Carolina. This is a very important game for both these teams. On one side, you got Auburn, of course. They're sitting at 2-1 right now, and they're looking like a top 15 team in the nation. All around, they could have a pretty good season, but they first got to get past South Carolina, which, of course, South Carolina got their first win last week, and if they want to have a better season than what it's looking like right now, they got to get a big win here. So, very important game here for both of these teams moving forward. And we're going to be going over a full game preview and prediction in this video, starting out with their team trends. And last week, Auburn beat Arkansas 30-28, so that was a win's a win there. But of course, Arkansas being who they are, Auburn should have won that game, I would say, by much more. But still, once again, a win's a win. But last game, of course, South Carolina beat Vanderbilt 41-7. They had a good win there as well. So that was South Carolina's first win of the season. Of course, Vanderbilt is easily one of the worst teams in the nation, let alone the SEC. So, yeah, but once again, the win's a win. 41-7 is a pretty good score to have against Vanderbilt. As far as their winning streaks for both these teams, Auburn is on a one-game winning streak after winning last week. They're sitting at 2-1 and the 14th ranked team in the nation. And as far as it goes for South Carolina, they're 1-2, also with a one-game winning streak. So both teams have a decent amount of momentum heading into this matchup. Game is going to be on Saturday, October 17th, noon Eastern in Columbia, South Carolina. So the Gamecocks will be your home team for this matchup. Spread currently says Auburn by 3. ESPN FPI also has Auburn with a 66%. And they got the Vegas prediction, which says 30-16 Auburn winning. So all three of our sources here are expecting Auburn, but the spread is actually cutting it pretty close. They're saying Auburn by only 3. So it does expect it to be a bit of a close one here. But, all around, the ESPN FPI is expecting more of a one-sided affair towards Auburn, and same thing for the Vegas prediction. So the spread really is the only close prediction here as far as this game goes. Here's just that comparison, of course, for points per game. South Carolina actually leads it there with 31 points. Auburn's got 22. As for your points allowed, Auburn allows 23. South Carolina allows 25. And then with your pass yards per game, Auburn's got 199. South Carolina's got 232. Rush yards a game, 129 for Auburn, 165 for South Carolina. And as far as it goes for yards allowed, Auburn allows 265 pass yards and 155 rush yards. Meanwhile, for South Carolina, they allow 234 pass yards and 96 rush yards per game. So all around in our stat comparison here, I would say South Carolina actually has the better stat line, but Auburn does allow less points per game apparently right now. But as far as it goes for the offensive side, Auburn's only got 22 on average points per game, but then again, they had to play a great Georgia team a couple of weeks ago, which they only scored 6 in, so that's probably a big factor as to why their averages here are kind of low. But as far as the games that both these teams have played, of course, Auburn beat Arkansas 30-28 there, and they also lost to Georgia 6-27. That's where that tough game landed. And then they also had a good one against Kentucky 29-13. As for South Carolina, they beat Vanderbilt 41-7, also lost to Florida 24-38, and they also had a loss against Tennessee 27-31. So pretty tough schedules for both these teams so far. Of course, last week was the easiest week so far for both of these teams, but still, Auburn has had to play both Georgia and Kentucky. Meanwhile, for South Carolina, they've had to play 2 top 15 teams with Florida and Tennessee. So all around, tough schedules for both of these teams as we look forward to the rest of the season. Some key points here. South Carolina is a good team despite the record, and I'm going to say that over and over again. They've got a decent stat line. They've just played a lot of really tough opponents. And, in general, I think South Carolina is a team that could make it to a bowl game this season. They've definitely got the talent here to do so. But Auburn is definitely playing as a top SEC team. They did have a pretty close call last week to Arkansas, but, if they can play pretty well this week and get a decent 2-touchdown win over South Carolina, I think they definitely can regain that reputation moving forward in the SEC. But do expect this game to be a low to a moderate scoring one. I think both offenses here are definitely going to put up a decent amount of points. Both defenses, too, are pretty good here, but I do expect it to be more of a low-scoring game. I think the defenses do prevail in the end, and we're going to see more of a defensive game. And that being said, here's my prediction for this one. Halftime score is going to be 21-14. Auburn's going to lead it with a close one at the half. I think this is going to be more of a back-and-forth game for the majority of this one, especially in the first half. I think we see both teams kind of battle back and forth. But in the final, 30-28 is going to be your final score. I've got Auburn winning this one in the end by 10. I think it's going to be, once again, this is kind of considered as a low-scoring game in the SEC terms, considering the season. last week we saw the highest scoring week I think the SEC's ever seen, so it does kind of seem like a high-scoring game, but still, 38-20 is not all that crazy. But yeah, I think Auburn's going to get the win here in the end by 10. But it wouldn't surprise me to see South Carolina get a win either. South Carolina is the home team here, and they've got a decent amount of momentum as well. So yeah, watch out for both these teams, though. Once again, very important game, though, for both these teams moving forward as they look forward to possibly making a bowl later on this season. I mean, this could definitely be a game that's very important towards the end of the season, especially for South Carolina being a team that's trying to gain some momentum right now. This is a very important game for them, and once again for Auburn being a pretty young team on the other side and them trying to be a top team in the SEC West. Yeah, once again, very important game for both of these teams here in week number 7. But that about wraps up my prediction on this game. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this one. If you enjoyed this preview, slap a like on it, subscribe as well. Really helps out the channel. I'd really appreciate that. But as always, thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central, and I will see you all later.